Afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson. Did not do a review yesterday because I'm not going to sit there and review a game that I've not seen. But I have actually seen the game now. So I'm going to do a bit of a live 5 things. So it's a little bit of a 5 things, little bit of a review, a little bit just of a hangout, if that's all right with you guys. How's it going? It's not morning anymore, Jokia. It is now, well, it might be where you are. It is now 12:02. So good afternoon. Right. Some real positives yesterday. I thought it was a relatively flat game. Not the most exciting. But you got to take 1-0s because 1-0s you've had to fight for. Fergie said that, and who am I to argue with that fella? So it was fairly equal. Southampton had a lot of rangy shots, a lot of shots that weren't really going to trouble you. United had a few shots, certainly half of our shots on target, coming all within that little burst where the keeper made like a handful of decent saves and there was a couple of blocks involved in the mix and all the rest of that sort of stuff. But, I think that's an interesting one. A couple of people talking about Anthony. Wait a minute. What are you on about? What's going on here? Let me just have a quick scooch around on the old internet. People are saying Anthony has been sold. Okay, well, if that's the case, we'll come back in about 20 minutes and we'll do a video on Anthony. But I want to talk about the game at the moment. So let's talk about the game, specifically in the game. And I don't know if I can start anywhere else except Lisandro Martinez. I thought Martinez was absolutely sensational. One of the things I really like about him, and it was one of the things that annoyed me with Maguire. People used to say Maguire was a good passer of the ball. This and another. Maguire took an age to pass the ball forward. What I see with Martinez is he receives the ball, his head's up, he's looking, and then he puts in a very snappy pass. And I've seen him breaking lines, going direct to the forward free. That's a ball-playing defender for me, and I'm very, very happy with what I'm seeing out of him. I thought his passing range was good. I thought, as usual, his interceptions was good. It's very front-foot defending with Martinez, and I love how much he loves playing for Manchester United and winning with Manchester United. That's mega for me. His attitude and his spirit is going to carry us a long, long way, I think. Cosplay Gamer there says, bit scrappy for the last 25 minutes. Yeah, I agree with that, to be honest. Yeah, and I think that's just Southampton trying to turn it on. I think, as I sort of said just before the game was kicking off when I saw McTominay was in the team, this isn't the game for Scott McTominay. You're going to want more players that are creative with the ball because you're going to end up with a lot of the ball. And I think what you saw with the way the game ended up a little bit 50-50-ish in terms of possession. In fact, what was the possession? I mean, yeah, United had a tiny bit more, 299 completed passes to 267. Basically 50-50 in terms of possession with a slight edge to United. I think United can go a lot better than that if you've got more of a ball player in there. And I think that's where Casemero comes in. And Casemero was impressive, I thought. But I'll talk about, I'm trying to make it 5 things and a finger. Right, so let's talk about Casemero. So Casemero, he was on for what, 10 minutes? I liked, again, a bit like Martinez, front foot defending, sniffing out the danger, steaming in, getting into the mixer with it again. He's out here blocking, he's out here pressing, he's closing down, he's winning headers. Sat himself in front of the defence and went, I'm here, let's go. And I liked it. I liked his spirit. And I think him, coupled with Martinez, is going to be a fucking nightmare to play against for teams. And I like that. What we have done, and I agree, I think the price for Casemero was a little bit on the high side, and I think it probably still leaves us short, maybe at right back, probably up front. I think the price is going to end up being all right. If we get 2 or 3 seasons out of him where, even if it's the Van Persie factor, where we get 2 or 3 seasons of him where he's as good as he looked in that 10 minutes, it'll be fine. But what we have done by bringing in Casemero and Martinez Manchester United for years have lacked character. For years have been a soft touch. We will not be a soft touch with Casemero and with Martinez. Not a prayer are we going to be a soft touch. United are now about to take defending two teams. We're about to take matches two teams just with those two. The character of those two is, and I like having both of those. Point 3, I would say, is Bruno. Now, for some reason, it became hip to sort of give Bruno shit towards the back end of last season, and people started bringing up his pass completion stats. Go and look at any creative player in the history of football, and you do not really see creative players with very high pass completions. It's defenders usually, or maybe a number 6 that has the usual in the 90s sort of passing completion. Someone on your team has to take chances. Someone on your team has to take risk. And that's what Bruno does for Manchester United. Now, since his debut, only Salah, Kane, and Son have scored more Premier League goals than Bruno. Think about that. There's only those 3 have scored more Premier League goals than him since February 2020. If he gets back to his goal-scoring best, United are an absolute force. And I actually thought him and Eriksen sort of shared a little bit of a deeper role. I'm sure everyone has seen it, but to talk you through what actually happened in the goal, I thought he finished it wonderfully. It was a straightforward. I'm not going to say it was easy, but it was straightforward, and he did what he had to do to finish it. But it was an excellent pattern of play, a real pattern of play. It was a third-man run to penetrate, and then a driven cross pulled back towards the edge of the area. The 2 runners were really important. Took the whole back 4 away. The midfield hadn't picked Bruno up. It was a straightforward pass into him, which he's then gone and finished. It was a really good pattern of play from United. That really enjoyed that. And I think Bruno, I don't know if he's captain material. He's obviously wearing the armband in Maguire's absence at the moment, but I think he's enjoying the responsibility at the moment. It sounds like this Anthony deal is being completed as we speak, so I'll go live in a second talking purely Anthony on that one, just to keep it so everyone can understand. You know, no one's clicking on the 5 things we learned to listen to me talk about Anthony, are they? Let's be honest. De Gea. So in the last 24 hours, it sounds like we might have completed Anthony, but we have completed, or at least we've agreed, Dubravka. So Dubravka has come in seemingly with the intention of putting pressure on David De Gea. Now, I thought David De Gea made a couple of decent saves, and I thought it wasn't one of his worst games distribution-wise yesterday, but he is still a potential issue. So bringing in Dubravka with the intention of putting pressure on with David De Gea is a very, very, very interesting move on Ten Hag's part. We will see in the first 6 or 7 weeks whether there is an intention to start with Dubravka or if it's going to be purely as a number 2 situation. But I think we're going to start seeing that a little bit. In terms of what does this all mean, people talking about what does this mean for Ronaldo, blah, 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 blah. We will talk about that probably in about 20 minutes. I'll just get a thumbnail sorted out and I'll go live again. Just one sec. I'm just going to get that sorted while we do it. Lucky Singh says Glazer family out. Completely agree. Liam says, you watch the game, you know aerial duels is flawed. I don't know what that's in relation to. I know there's a lot of people bringing up the aerial duels with Martinez, and he's won 80-something%, I believe, which is one of the highest in the league so far this season for any player. What happens if he ever jumps head-to-head with someone who's 6'5", he's losing. But he stacks the deck in his favour, and this is why he's smart. He's all about just shoving the hip a little bit as someone jumps with him. He's incredibly clever with it. Or he'll drop off. He doesn't really compete directly up against those big forwards. He uses his body position and a bit of game intelligence to not have to do that, I think. Liam says Ronaldo was useless yesterday. YouTube commenter says, is Ronaldo finished? We'll talk all about that on the Anthony video, which will be in about 20 minutes if you want to come and get in the mixer. Alan says Rashford was fading for 60 minutes as always. Don't know if that's a fair comment, but okay. Eriksen can't play for 90 minutes. Visanen, so we have attacking options instead of relying on Alanga. You do need the options. Darko says, Steve, do I feel like we're not controlling enough in the middle? Yes, 100%. I think we're not controlling enough in the middle. And that's why I'm very excited to see the prospect of having Casemero play for us. Because I think Casemero plays for us, and you've got more control in there. Now, he's not De Jong. He's not going to spray passes around like that. He's a little bit more basic in terms of how he moves the ball around. But he's certainly a lot more defensive than De Jong is. And probably actually suits us more because of how United still aren't the finished product. I think it makes sense to just be a little bit more defensively secure than it seems we would have been with De Jong. Because if it had been De Jong, what would our midfield have been with De Jong? Bruno, yes. De Jong. And then what? Scott McTominay. I don't think it would have worked still. So, yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. Abdul says Martinez is what we wished Rojo would have been. Why haven't we got a weekly show called The Mixer? Isn't there a football show called The Mixer? And if there's not, why not? And if there isn't, yes, I'll do a show called The Mixer. There's loads of football phrases that I'm absolutely in love with. Bill, the director of football that I'm working with at Paddock at the moment, he's got one which he loves, which is POMO, which is the position of maximum opportunity. And the corridor of uncertainty. He's a big fan of both of those. Connor says, calling Casemero a steady head, i.e. was hilarious, like it was a bad thing. That's exactly what we needed. Steady Land Rover in the middle, not a Citroen Picasso duo. Interesting. What a random car to pull up. SB says, I'd happily swap for Ruiz if the engineered move for PSG stalls completely. Leo says, with Casemiro, we should more than ever get a new second ball-playing midfielder. Eriksen is light for me. I think I worry for Eriksen's ability to play 50 games. So what are we going to do? Use Fred? I'm not sure that's the ball-playing midfielder that you want it to be. Dermot Shaw says Ten Hag showing his tactical prowess after half-time. We did see different sides of United there, and that's I actually genuinely like. I like a 1-0 win. You know you've had to fight for a 1-0 win, and I do genuinely love a 1-0 win. Malp says Eriksen looks shattered. Sanjay says sell Donny. Well, could Donny be that guy? He's not been given the chance at the moment, and I think that's very telling considering this is the manager that literally brought him on. But, what do we do? Still haven't replaced Pogba, says 8-8. Jockey says, no way Shaw's getting back into the starting 11. I said this to Rio on... might have been last night, actually. I think we're going to discuss this in detail tomorrow on Vibe with 5. But I said, if I'm the agent, for us as regular fans, right, I don't actually really give a shit about England. And I don't really put too much on international football because personally, for me, international football is gash. For me, it's all about the Premier League and the Champions League. Those are the two best competitions. If I was involved in football, those are the things that I'd want to be winning above all else. The World Cup, I enjoy the competition, but I don't really value it. No, it's an FA Cup as far as I'm concerned. I know some people will put it on a real pedestal, but I just don't think international football's as much as it's cracked up to be. I think capitalism has made the top 4 or 5 leagues in Europe such a high level that it's just unfeasible to have the accident of birth be better than what teams with unlimited budgets can assemble in pursuit of winning the Champions League. So I don't think international football is quite on the same level as Champions League and Premier League and even fucking La Liga, in all honesty. So I enjoy the World Cup as a spectacle, like I enjoy the FA Cup as a spectacle, and I love the FA Cup, but I don't place it higher than a Champions League win, for example. So for me, having something along the lines of having a player that I represented if I was an agent in the situation Maguire and Shaw is, what I said to Rio over the weekend was, if I represent Shaw and Maguire, knowing how agents work, I'd probably be trying very, very hard to get them out of Manchester United this week, because there's no way Harry Maguire should be going to the World Cup with England if he's not going to be first choice for United. And there's no way Luke Shaw should be going probably anyway. Like, I would be working very hard to get those out of the club, I think. Loads of confusion. Santa Notch says the Cup Winners' Cup was bigger, clearly. Maguire on his way back to Leicester, says Sean Kettle. That's an interesting one. I think it'd be a loan. I don't think they've got the money. Obviously, they've not bought a single outfield player this year. I don't think they'd have the money to be able to invest in probably what we would want for him. But that might not be a bad shout now they've lost Fofana. Might not be a bad shout in the slightest. Harry says, do I think I moved back to Leicester to replace Fofana? Literally just talking about that one. YouTube commenter says they will start for England as Gareth Southgate plays his favourites. Shouldn't be. Larson saying Anthony's completed for €99 million. We'll talk about that in a minute. Ion says, would Casemero and Fred be as utilised as the other duo to create balance? You can't trust Scott, Fred and Van der Beek to play together. I know that Fred and Casemero have played together for Brazil, which is kind of mental. But I just, again, international football, don't rate it. Don't think it says a higher level. Manuel says keepers who we should be looking for. Well, it looks like we've signed Dubravka. Right, I am going to wrap it up here because it sounds like I need to do a little bit of reading to find out what's going on with Anthony. But cheers for tuning in, everyone. Stick around and we will be going live again very, 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 very soon with the news on Anthony, whether it's legit or not. See you in a bit.